Joe here. Welcome to a rainy morning, but boys, it's still humid and groggy. I'm sweating like a old mare. Bit of a sore throat. It keeps coming and going, so another good reason to cancel tonight's live stream. And thank you very much for your messages. It really appreciates. I do appreciate your concerns. And yesterday, I even had a phone call from Mike Vinyl Spiral, which was very nice. Anyway, welcome to the Sophomore Drome. 2 albums go in, only one comes out. And we've got 2 bands today at the beginning of their careers in the prog department. We have got Yes, A Time in a Word against Genesis, Trespass. 2 great albums. This was going to be tough, but we'll see how we go. So we always do the first album that comes out first, and in this case it is A Time in a Word from Yes. Now this was released on the 24th of July 1970, and it was put together after the release of their eponymous debut. This is where Peter Banks, the guitarist at the time, sort of fell out with the band because he didn't like the idea of adding orchestra to the album, and it resulted in increased tensions between him and the rest of the group. And during the UK tour in April, before the album's release, Peter Banks was fired and in came Mr. Steve Howell. So playing on here is John Anderson on lead vocals, percussion, Peter Banks on guitars, Chris Squire on the bass, Tony Kaye on the Hammond organ and piano, Bill Bruford on the drums. So already I've got to have a swig. Just hope it gets better for the rest of the day. That's better. So the first track on here, the opening track, is No Opportunity Necessary, No Experience Needed. Everyone knows this. It's the one that's got that, probably one of the first tracks with some sampling. It's got the theme of the Western big country. Then you get that wonderful bass from Chris Squire. Excellent track. I do like that. Then we get Then. Solid. The best bit about this is Bill Bruford's drumming. Every Days, which was written by Stephen Stills. Very early prog track. Really good. I like the drumming again from Bill Bruford. I think John's vocals are good. Sweet Dreams. I like this. I love Peter's guitar work on here. It's probably one of the best guitar tracks that Peter did while he was in Yes. Then we have The Prophet. Very jazzy, and it's a good track. I like that jazzy guitar from Peter. Clear Days. Very pastiche. Doesn't sort of fit on this album. This is a track that may have been sounded better on the debut album from Genesis, but it's okay. Then we have the magnificent Astral Traveller. I always consider this one of the first real prog tracks from Yes. It's got a great guitar solo from Peter, some great that great Rickenbacker bass from Chris Squire. Excellent track. Then we have the title track, A Time in a Word. I love this. I love the acoustic guitar, and I think it's a lovely vocal from John Anderson. Now, I like this album, believe it or not. I think this is the first sort of proper sort of progressive rock album from Yes, and they use the orchestral. I tend to disagree with Peter Banks. I thought the orchestral adds a little bit more to it. It's a really strong album, and I do like it, but it's not what I think. Let's see what the critics thought. The album did receive mixed reception. It received an enthusiastic review from Roy Carr of the New Musical Express in '70, which he hailed it one of the best releases of the year. To the reviewer, it is material mentally exhilarating and no opportunity, necessary, no experience needed. Set the standard and the mood for the rest of the tracks. The arrangements are well blended, and it shows the group's ability to perform intricate and highly complex ensemble passages. He also said that Chris Squire's bass playing was very identical, and he created such a formidable rhythm section with Bill Bruford. That's the only review I can see. But All Music gave it a 2. Chris Gale's Record Guide gave it a C. The Rolling Stone gave it a 2 stars. UK album charts, it got to number 45. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of this one. The song quality. Yes, we're not the polished act that they were going to be, but there are elements of here that really show it. Astral Traveller, An Opportunity Necessary, 2 outstanding tracks on this album, and I think Sweet Dreams has got potential. So I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. Production, very well produced. Even for 1970, it's got the quality of a good prog album. How they mixed in the orchestral is fantastic. So I should give that a 4 out of 5. Reception. It didn't go down particularly well. I mean, it wasn't until the next album they really hit the road running, but it's still got an affection today with everybody. I mean, 45 in the charts first time round, not too bad. So I'm going to give that a 3 out of 5. Cover design, very bizarre. As you can say, it's got a sort of a half, well, near enough naked lady putting a whole. Nah, it's a weird cover. Not particularly a favourite of mine, and so I'm going to give that a 3 out of 5. So for yeses, A Time and a Word gives us a grand total of 13 out of 20. So let's move on to the next contender, and of course it's Genesis and their album Trespass, which came out in October 1970. And playing on here is Peter Gabriel on lead vocals, flute, accordion and bass drum, Anthony Phillips on guitars, excuse me, and vocals, Tony Banks on Hammond organ, Mike Rutherford on acoustic guitar and bass, and John Mayhew on drums. This opens up with a magnificent Looking for Someone. I love this track. Solid, some nice guitar from Anthony Phillips. He was a fine guitar player. It's a shame he had that stage fright, but we wouldn't have had Steve Hackett. But I always consider Anthony Phillips a fantastic guitar player. Lovely flute from Peter, and some interesting keyboard work from Tony. White Mountain, another good track. I've got this on a bootleg of a Genesis concert with Phil singing it, and it's a pretty good track. And I love Tony's keyboards on this as well. Visions of Angels. Now this is a very pastiche track. It could have actually appeared on that debut album. I think it's very much in that vein, and I do like it. Then we have another classic from me, from the band, Stagnation. I love this track. It's just classic Genesis already, and the finale bit always appears in like the medleys they used to do on stage, you know, in the later years. Absolutely brilliant track. And then we get Dusk, a very pastiche song, very pleasant, wonderful vocal from Peter. And then we get probably one of the heaviest tracks that Genesis ever did, and it's the brilliant The Knife, that great dirty heavy bass line from Mike. Wonderful stuff. And I would say this is Anthony's finest moment in Genesis. The guitar work on this is absolutely fantastic. It just You know, for a band that went from a pastiche and then to come into this absolute classic, and it's still very well loved, this track. So that is the last track. Their first proper, this is, people always consider this the first proper Genesis album, and to a certain extent I do. It's still got a couple of the pastiche songs from the debut album, but there are so many great tracks on this album. That's my opinion of it. But what did the critics think? Again, it had mixed reception from the music press. Jerry Gilbert, writing in Sounds, gave a positive review and singled out Visions of Angels and White Mountain as the highlights. A reviewer from Melody Makers said the album was tasteful, subdued and refined. Rolling Stone printed an extremely brief but negative review saying it was poorly defined. AllMusic's later retrospective review only was so slightly more forgiving, and summarising the album is more interesting for what it points out. The guitars are so low mix, but who cares? So I do apologise for this. I'm really. There we go. So the ratings. AllMusic gave it a 2. Rolling Stone unfavourable. Rolling Stone album guide though gave it 3, and the Daily Vault give it an A-. The album charts, it only got to number 98. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of this one. Song quality. I think there's some absolutely brilliant songs here. Looking for Someone, White Mountains, The Knife. They're all brilliant tracks. Stagnation. So I'm going to give that a 4 out of 5. Production. Fine production. I don't care what AllMusic is about the low of the guitars. It's very pastiche in places, but I think the guitar work on The Knife really was brilliant, how it was put together. So I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. Reception. Unfortunately, it didn't go down very well in the time, but now people do love this album, so I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Cover design. I love this cover. I think it was the start of some great covers for Genesis. I love the little volcano and the purple sky out the window. So I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. So for Genesis, Trespass gives us a grand total of 15 out of 20. Pretty tight in the scores, but it just goes down to my favourite out of these two. As much as I love the Yes album, I think Trespass is always a great album. I've ranked it quite high when I rank these albums. It was the start of the great period for Genesis. It's just got some absolute classics on this album. So today's winner is Trespass. Okay, the only place you can vote this week will be in the community, because obviously there is no live stream tonight. So at 2 o'clock it'll go in the on the community page to get voting there. I think I'm going to go and sort my throat and my nose out before I record my next one, which is mixing it up. And this week we're going to look at the producer, Peter Collins. So join me for that a bit later when I feel probably going to feel a bit better. This was not a good idea doing it first thing in the morning. I'll see you later. Bye for now.